Hi everybody, it's Keith McGuire. Mark's behind the camera, and today we're going to be painting some magnolias. I believe in the scene, you can see me. I'll be blending my colors on the tray over here. I got my photo here of the magnolias, and so hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So
So if you want to see more of the tray, you need to move it. Oops, that way.
A little more tray.
Yep.
How's that?
That's good.
Good?
I hit the camera.
Nice. Are we... Oh, okay.
Alright, good.
So we're good?
We're good.
Alright. So, I like Schminky brand paints. These are the dry pans. And they're excellent quality paint. They're a little pricey, but God, they're worth it. They really are. I'm also using today the Lowell Cornell Ultra Round watercolor paintbrush. These things really hold their tips, and they're not that expensive, and they're Teflon. They're not real expensive, but they really do a nice job. I highly recommend them. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I am going to start with the actual flower itself, and then I'll do the background greens. We're going to try to do this quickly. We'll see how this works out. For shadows, I'm going to be using a couple different blues. I'm going to use the ultramarine blue and the I forgot the name of that paint.
Cerulean?
Cerulean, thank you. So yeah, I'll be using these two blues as my shadows. But I'm also going to be using other colors. I like to get a little bit of, well, not that one. I must have moved my paint. Ah, here we go. There we go. This is a magenta. Very pretty, kind of bright purpley red. The idea is that the flowers are white, but they don't have to be, they don't have to be boring. They can have a little action to them. They can have a little color. By using color for shadow, it makes them a little more interesting. In the picture, it appears very yellowish, but I'm going to kind of brighten them up using the blues and the pinks and a little bit of yellow too. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and just dribble water on the paper, and I'm going to wet 2 or 3 of the flower petals. I had to think about that.
So you're following the lines that you pencil sketched in.
Yes. You may have trouble seeing the pencil sketch. I do like kind of drawing it out so that I can see, see what I'm doing. I hate guessing. So I'm adding just a little bit of color in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be painting each one of these. But they're going to be very light, kind of delicate. And the other thing is, I can't paint them all at once. So I'm going to paint a little at a time, one at a time, 1 or 2 at a time. And it'll dry, and I'll just keep going. But I'll just keep going around until I get everything. So I got this kind of pretty pink that's kind of coming into the center of the flower itself. And now I'm going to use a little bit of the ultramarine blue, create a little bit of shadow on this particular petal here. Just a little bit. Very light. This is a very delicate kind of procedure. We're not going to get real dark with this stuff. The dark will come with the background when we do the, do the leaves. Then it's going to get a little more exciting. So once again, the idea of wetting the surface is it gives the paint a place to go. If you just apply it down, you almost get the streaks on the paper that's, of you painting. But if you wet it and then drop the color into it, the paint can move around and flow, and it's very watercolory. How's that?
So how are you going to get yellow from pink and blue?
I'm going to apply literally a yellow into some of the petal areas. It's kind of funny. This particular flower, I've seen them. They're almost yellow to pink to any number of different types of whites. And this one, like I said, it's got a yellow cast to it, but I think that's more the photography than anything. So I'm just gonna kind of jazz them up a little bit by adding a little bit of these very delicate colors to create shadow areas within these petals, because they're all lightly cupped. So, all right. So, actually, the fun part about this is it's going quicker than I thought. Mark probably doesn't think so. Mark? Yeah. Can you see? Can you see color?
I'm just double checking. I'll do my best to make sure it's as visible as possible.
Thank you. It's nothing more boring than watching Keith paint. Alright. And not be able to actually see what I'm doing. Alright.
Well, that's the downside of subtle colors. It's hard to capture and...
But it'll become a little more obvious in a minute or two. I'm going to actually start putting in a little background so you can see what these petals are doing, how they're going to start popping out from the background here. So I've got a lot of these petals are about done. Got one more over here. Ooh. So I kind of forgot to wet that one. But if you're quick, you can always get in there and kind of loosen it up a little bit. Alright, so I have been looking at that drop of water for the entire time since I
didn't want to say anything.
Yeah. There, it's gone. Problem solved. Alright, so I'm going to put a little bit of Naples yellow into the center with a little bit of a Hansen light yellow. I'm going to do a little mixture, and I'm going to go ahead and do these little center, I don't even know what they're called. Stems, pistils, the yellow things in the center of a magnolia.
Where the pollen is?
Yeah, or the chewy center of a Tootsie Roll. Alright, so. Yeah. We're going to let that set up. I'm also going to take a little bit of this yellow, and in the pink areas, not the blue, because I don't want to create greens, I'm going to take a little bit of that yellow, and I'm going to push it into the pink and create just a third color in this in the center of this particular flower. Now you don't want to go where the blue is, obviously, because like I said, yellow and blue make green. But this yellow and this magenta doesn't get too... It'll get kind of orangey, light orangey, but not too bad. So that's what I'm saying. I want a little bit of that yellow color in here too. So, alright. So I'm going to stop right there on that particular flower. And And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some of the background leaves, just so you can see this flower kind of pop out. So I'm going to start with, this is called May Green in the Schminke color catalog. It's kind of like a permanent green light. And I'm going to mix it with a, it's called Chrome Green. And can you see that in the shot?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you don't want it too dark. You don't want too much of the chrome green. But we want enough green, and we want a green that's a little bit on the I would say grayer side, and that's, you know, what the chrome does. The chrome green does for this particular image. So for leaves, what I like to do is paint kind of 1/2 at a time. I probably should have wet that and then painted. But if you're fast, you can do it, you know. You can see, if you got a big enough brush and enough paint, you can do it. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do the other side of this one. And you'll hopefully notice that the yellow green of the May Green and this kind of grayer green will actually, with a little bit of water, separate a little bit as you're painting. Even though I've kind of mixed them together, when they get to the paper, the chrome green has enough residue in it that it'll settle into the paper. The yellow green will kind of lift up a little bit. So you get this kind of multi-green, color green going, and it's a little more interesting, not as boring. How's that? So I'm going to go ahead and mix me up a decent batch here. I think the other thing I recommend, the other thing I recommend is that you try to vary the color a little bit here and there, value-wise, just so you get a little more. You know, if they're all the same value, it's not as fun. You don't have as much dynamicism. Alright. I will be learning to speak English again.
It's alright, you don't need to talk.
Okay, good. Hey, wait a minute. Yeah. That's what my students say, too. Really, Keith, you're fine. Just paint. So, as you can see, using the same colors, I still have two very different values going here. So, for me, the idea is just to make it a little more interesting. Now this is our middle value. There might be some darker values in there too. But we're going to also, you know, get to the really dark darks also. So let me get a few more of these leaves in. I missed a petal. Flower petal. If you notice, I'm leaving little lips on these. They actually have very thick leaves that kind of fold up a little bit. So you get these little lips on the leaves. So I want to leave that little light area. It just kind of makes it feel like the has a little depth to them, which they do. They're very kind of thick leaves. All right, down here. I don't have to do much of anything. So I'm using, paper-wise, I'm using a 140 cold press. Arches watercolor paper. I like Arches the best because it's for professionals and for amateurs just starting out. The nice thing about it is it's very it's tough. It can handle a lot of abuse, and I want to go ahead and strongly recommend that you get good paper. Arches is made of 100% rag cotton, and they've been around for what, 600 years, 700 years. They got it down pat, so it's good stuff. All right. Oops, sorry. Yep, everybody's spinning around. Ooh, we've had a splatter.
So hard. Ooh, right in the middle of it. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Throw it away.
No, it's kind of funny.
Garbage.
I tell people, you know, you can sit there and try to fix something and mess it up even more, or you can sometimes just let it go. This one's a little big. I think I can actually lift it. Yep. As long as it's still wet, still have a chance. Let go. There we go. All right. All right, so the flower is now starting to appear as I get a little more background color on this thing. Okay, that's a white petal. That's a leaf. So the photo and my actual image is not exactly the same. I tightened up the image a little bit where the flowers are a little closer to each other than in the actual photo. But I don't think there's that much difference that you'll really notice.
We'll find out.
Yeah. All right. So I think at this point, I almost have to, well, I don't have to stop. I guess I could keep going and start working on the upper flower, get more of that color in while this dries, so that I have a chance to start putting the darks in, so we can make the flowers and the leaves then start popping up very nicely. So let me go ahead. I'm going to do a little more of the flower on top. Alright, you're saying, hey,
that's a dark color.
Where'd you get that purple? And that's just the
dirty brush?
No.
Oh.
Now you're being mean. No, it's the magenta and the ultramarine blue, which when mixed together makes a very pretty violet and creates nice shadow color, I think. So I'm going to add a little more, put a little more pink in here. All right. So like I said, I'm using the color to create shadow. So I think it's fun to create a little more interesting painting, a little more color to it. Alright, well, actually, I think I made a little bit of a mess, so I'm gonna just clean some of this out. And
all that wasted paint.
no, it's mostly water. We're good, we're good. Alright, so I'm gonna throw a little more of the ultramarine down. And the this one, magenta. I don't need a ton, but there we go. Am I still in the frame?
Yeah, do that.
Okay.
You'll make my editing a nightmare, but you're still there.
You know, I'm trying. That's... If I'm uncomfortable in front of the camera, you can be uncomfortable in front of the editing thing.
I was just gonna dump this off to you and let you edit it.
No! That would be very self-conscious. Could I make myself thinner? Taller?
You're sitting down.
Did I give something away? Did I reveal something?
Or are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Bus, the plane. All right. So I am...
You got about 4 minutes. I gotta reset the camera.
Okay. So we got about 4 minutes before I'm going to see how much I can get done. That'll give us a chance to let maybe the background dry too while we're charging batteries and taking names. So on this one, I'm working this on this particular flower. I've been pushing a little more color in. And I'm liking it a little bit more. So I'll probably go back and punch the lower one up a little bit more too. So it's kind of fun. That's, you know, that's how it works. You put it down, you try it out, and if it isn't quite right, you fix it. So right now, yeah. Right now I like what I got. So again, I'm gonna do the little yellow knobs, whatever they, nodules, whatever. Again, I like using the Naples yellow just to kind of, A, it's kind of opaque, B, you can see it because it is opaque. Some of the yellows, you know, they're so light. This yellow has a lot of white in it, so it kind of makes it not as transparent and shows up better. So especially when you're doing something a very strong yellow. And I'll add other yellow to it so I can get a very strong color.
You need to wrap up this section.
All right, so I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break here, switch out our batteries, and we'll let this dry, and we'll be back. We're back, and I'm going to finish up the background real quick here. I'm going to actually finish putting a little more color in it. I'm not going to finish it, all right? Just let it go. But yeah, I'm still putting a background color in, the green, the leaves, trying to break the actual flowers out of the foreground here. So I got a little bit of a branch, about the only one in this whole picture. And I don't even know why. I'm just going to do it. Yay. One little branch. And there's the rest of it. So, again, I want to leave a little bit of an outline around each of the leaves. And that's actually a little bit of background there, so I'm going to go ahead and work over here. Try to finish this up on this side a little bit. So we're going to talk about the website or what?
Okay, if you want. So, while Keith's painting the background, I'm going to try and talk nice and loud so you can hear me. We've been updating the website recently. You can get access to all the videos we've done past. So if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, you'll find them there as well, obviously. But they're also on the website. We've also have a section dedicated to recommended materials. So if you want to see what kind of paint Keith's using, the paper he's using, the paint he's using, and where we recommend you can go buy it online or use that list as a checklist for your local art supply center. Either one works for us. If you use our links, we get a small commission as a thank you for sending you their direction. But you don't pay any extra, so it's up to you if you want to use it or not.
They pay us.
We also have a section now dedicated to the line drawings from Keith's paintings. There's a few on there now. More will come in the future. And we will also have drawing tutorials on there eventually as well. So there'll be an education resource for you to find things to follow along, or possibly you didn't even know existed yet.
Excellent. And
as well as links to Salt Valley Arts and anywhere else Keith may be teaching in person.
yes.
So go check that out if you're local to the Metro Detroit, Ann Arbor area. And hopefully you'll see us, or we'll see you.
We'll be watching for you.
And there's links to purchase Keith's prints. Again, not as many as we'd like on there yet. He's awful fickle about what he'll let us.
Hey, we're getting there.
But there's a few. We have different size prints. We have greeting card styles as well for a lot of the stuff. So go check that out. It'd be appreciated.
Help feed a hungry artist.
A starving artist.
Yeah, I wish I looked like I was starving.
Doable.
We've had Keith locked in the basement now for over 2 weeks. He claims he's hungry.
Look at those cheekbones.
Yeah. Finally. His ability to subsist off his own body weight is remarkable. Anyway, I'm starting to fill in around the leaves. And I'm going to really start putting some value in here. I just want to kind of get a base coat of everything down, which I've just about done now, except for a couple leaves up in the corners here. But what I want to do now is I'm going to start mixing. This is an ultramarine violet. It's very dark. And I'm going to be dropping some of that color in with the green while it's wet. I'm going to get kind of a dark with little hints of green still kind of bleeding through. So I'm just getting started here, though. This won't be it. There'll be more value coming. More value along the way. I'm just trying to get a little bit of depth in here so you guys can kind of see it's not all just leaves. There's a little bit of shadow, a little depth to the background. Yeah, it's starting to pop out a little bit. What is that? That's a leaf. Alright, so like I said, I'm not, this isn't the finished product, it's just me trying to now kind of break these dark areas, break them out a little bit so that you can actually see the flowers, the leaves, everything start to come together in the foreground.
And that's it for today. So like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
What? Wait. No, wait. I'm not done yet. All right. And I have to have this done in 4 minutes? What? Anyway, as you can see, I've now increased the color for the background. I'm using a lot more. I've added a lot more ultramarine blue to this because I'm looking for just a little more diversity of color and depth of color. So all right. All right. So now, where do I want to go with this? Let's see what colors I have here. Ah, that's what I want. So now I'm going to add indigo to these wet, kind of dark bluish areas. And I'm not going to just fill it all in. I'm going to kind of just, the areas are still wet, so I'm just kind of dropping color in. And I'm going to let it move around. I'm kind of trying to create like little shadowy areas, some a little darker than others. I'm going to come back in and push a little bit of that darker green in again, the chrome green. So as you can see now, I'm getting a lot of color. And the idea is, I don't want it to be all just one color, you know, just it all mixes together and it's this, you know. What I'm trying to do is get a little bit of green, a little bit of blue. So you're dropping it one color into another color that's wet. You've got a lot of paint down. You just kind of push another color in. So we're going to try it again over here. Alright, so here's my dark again. This is indigo. I like indigo. It's a very blue-black color. And I like it because I'm not a big fan of black. Black to me tends to dry a little on the boring side. So I like kind of mixing things up. I'll use the indigo because it's a little shinier color, I guess. I'll mix it with other colors to get a black out of it, but it's not a ugly black. It's a shiny, pretty black. All right. So, as you can see now, these flowers are really starting to pop out. And I got to be careful that I don't stick my hand in something. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I have to kind of pick it up.
Where's it going?
Yeah, it's gone. I just need to kind of look myself. So I just wanted to kind of pick it up, and also I pick up my painting a lot and move it around to get move the paint around a little bit. All right. So. Alright, what do we got here? Alright. I'm going to go with a little more of the ultramarine blue. Like I said, all I'm doing is creating some deep values for the background, which are not boring. And, you know, right now, you don't have to wet everything all the time. If you're putting down a lot of paint anyway, just do it.
Thanks, Nike.
Yeah. Now we owe them money too, right? Or do they owe us? Well, we're promoting their icon, right?
Right.
Is that how it works? Or now I love these brushes. As you can see, I'm kind of a detail guy. I like my edges sharp. These Lowell, what are these again? Lowell Cornell. They have a good tip on them. You can get some real fine detail. I used to do a lot of pen and ink in the past, so I'm very comfortable doing fine line, and these brushes are just awesome for doing that kind of stuff. All right, we're getting there. Now, some of these other colors, these pinks, the magentas, a little bit of the yellows and stuff, you can always kind of find a way to maybe poke it into the background a little bit too. Again, I think you can kind of sometimes push it, just kind of push it into another color. That's what I'm doing right now, is just taking a little bit of that magenta, just pushing it into the background a little bit, just so it's a little more. Darks don't have to be boring. All right. Are you dizzy yet?
Always.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that.
Whee!
Yeah. And once you get our virtual reality helmets, every class can be an adventure. All right. So now you got a better idea of the values I'm trying to achieve for the background a little bit. And everything's fun when it's wet. Everything's beautiful when it's wet. What's hard is, you know, sitting there waiting for it to dry and see what colors you do end up with. With time, you'll get to know your palette pretty good and know what you'll be able to do. That's why I say paint, 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 paint. It's the only way you're gonna get comfortable with your palette. And there's lots of good books out there.
But you're better off subscribing to our channel.
No, there's a lot of good books out there that you can kind of reference for, hey, if I mix this color and this color together, you know, you can sit there and do it. You can sit there and do 500 little squares and do all the mixing. Or there's a couple good books out there that you can just, you know, color mixing for watercolors, and they'll kind of show you what the color looks like when it's done. All right. So, all right. So I got my green. I got just a couple more of these leaves, and then I'm going to have to let it dry. Yep.
Well, you still have time on the clock.
Yeah, but I can't, I've got paint everywhere. I can't, I'm trying really hard not to stick my hand into anything wet. And one more big one right there. Give me, not quite done. Not quite dead yet.
Almost looks like flowers.
Yeah, we're getting there. Now the trick with watercolors, light to dark. Get your colors, get used to thinking that way. A lot of artists that start out with oils and acrylics often have a hilarious time with watercolors because it's the opposite. So, what do you think? I think I have got to dry it, or let it dry, or for God's sake, we're going to have my hand in something here. I'm just putting a little color here. Soften this up. There. Alright, so, sorry, but there. Let's let that set up. Give me, can we take a break?
We will take a break.
Thank you. Alright, my painting is about 3/4 done. We're going to kind of pick it up a little bit. Mark said he wants to go eat. He's bored. He wants to move on.
Don't put this on me. Sure looks like some of those parts darkened up more than 40%.
You know, here's the deal. I'm going to get started now. And we're going to do it in silence.
He's a cheater.
Silence.
He's a no good cheater.
Yeah. Yeah, I finished a lot of stuff while you guys were gone. No, honestly, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start kind of filling in a little bit, maybe getting some of these a little more color where we might need it, make it pop a little bit more again. So I'm adding a little darker value to some of the petals here. It's kind of fun. You don't know exactly until you really start getting the deeper values in. That's when you start going, oh, okay, well, maybe I've got to go back and add get a little action going here, a little excitement. So that's what I'm doing right now, is just going to push in a little more color. I'm trying to spin a little more slowly in the new year here. We've had complaints of people falling off their chairs.
They must be watching in VR.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's it. That's what I want to learn. I want to learn how to teach art in VR. Where actually I have it on too.
Yeah.
So you can. No.
I'll start by taping a GoPro to your forehead.
Why does that sound like fun? Action.
Find out how much you move your head when you're painting.
Yeah, exactly. Action. So these little yellow doohabbers, I know there's a name for them, have a little green chewy center. What's that from? The Lion King? The little green cream-filled kind. Anyway, so trying again. I didn't like that last one. A little bit better. And just kind of lifting a little of that color out. I'm gonna go back in, add just a little bit of water, push some of that color to the edges. Then I'm gonna grab the little brighter, again, May green. Kind of drop that in. Alright. So I've switched to a little smaller brush now.
It's so tiny.
It's cute. What I'm trying to do is not load the paper up with too much water from using a larger brush like that. Okay. So we got that, and that. Alright, I'm going to add a little more color. Again, like I said, the petals, everything seems to have like little rolled up lips. So that's what I'm kind of adding here. And that one's okay. This one could probably use... Now, what did I promise you? 15 minutes, right?
That's what you told me.
Alright. I might have lied, but we're going to be close, I think. So again, I'm just kind of breaking the petals apart a little bit, give them a little value here and there, a little more value. This guy right here, he's the one that's kind of, it's like a little stubby one. There. Alright, now the fun part. This is what Mark probably doesn't think is fun, but...
Ooh.
No, not this. I'll let you know. Now what we're going to do is...
Ooh.
Okay, now we're going to grab the big brush again. The big brush. When I say big brush, it's a number 10. It's not huge, but...
So the bigger the number, the bigger the brush?
Yes, definitely. Alright, so what I'm going to do now...
Ooh.
Alright, perfect. Alright, is I am going to hit the background, and I knew, see? Now the leaves with some values, okay? Right now they're still kind of on the flat side, but I think we can do this fairly quickly. Create a little more excitement to the color of the picture. And if you notice, I don't care if I kind of hit the dark areas because we're going to be hitting them one more time anyway. So that's why I'm not worried about it too much. So you may be saying, hey, Keith, I thought you said dark to light, or light to dark. It seems like you're putting a darker value over the lighter ones. Well, I am. I'm just, again, want to get a little more value, push a little bit of shadow up under here and there. Okay, sorry for spinning around so much, but that's why you don't that's why you don't tape your painting to the table. The other reason is it's kind of fun to pick up a watercolor and let the water flow around. Alright, so where is it? I want to get a little bit of this blue, this ultramarine blue, up under some of these corners a little bit. Just create a little bit of a shadow. There we go. And I'm sorry, there we go. This is what I do. I like picking it up and pushing that paint around a little bit. So all the white areas, all those lips that I created, what I'm doing now is I'm going to be covering most of them, but they should be a little bit lighter than the rest of the leaf. And the same with the center edges and stuff, you know, the center part. They should remain a little bit lighter. Sweet. All right. Yes, I can amuse myself for hours. So I'm putting just another coat of color over top of everything. I'm sorry, the green parts. Like I said, just to make them a little more vibrant. The other part of it, though, is I'm also going to be pushing a little more value into the darks also. All right. Alright, that looking. I'm just using May Green, just the May Green. Like I said, it's very similar to the Permanent Green Light. And I'll tell you what, it's a great mixing color. People that have trouble with greens, picking the right green, or finding the right green, for years I was always, couldn't find what I was looking for. And I found almost any green, if I mix it with permanent light green, it turns into a nice green. It turns pretty. So don't ask me why or how, but it is pretty effective. Alright, so things coming a little more alive. think I'm nearing where I want to possibly call it quits. Yeah. Alright.
No more color in the flowers?
I did. I can put a little more in. Ooh, that's nice. Alright. Now, some of that fun detail, just get a few strokes using kind of like a negative approach where you don't paint the little lines. Paint everything but the little lines. Alright. Ooh, this one. This one needs a little love. All right, Mark.
Who is it?
Very seriously, so you think still more color on the petals?
I'm just asking. You're the artist.
It's not a bad thing to get an opinion once in a while. Just be careful, because sometimes they'll give it to you, too. Yeah, actually, there is a couple little areas that I could have did a little more work on.
Darn tootin'.
But at the same time, do I leave a little mystery or no? And that's how we do a half-finished painting. Good night, everybody. So I am adding a little more contrast between some petals. And what is the... Oh.
You did it.
No. It was supposed to be a leaf. No. Alright. Right here. I'm just going to paste the paint on there. No 2 or 3 layers for you. Yeah. It's okay.
Is that right?
Yeah. Alright. I think one more little chunk here. I was wrong about that 15 minutes, huh?
Not if you stop right now.
Well, there is could do a little bit more, but it's pretty close. I think one of the things I would do is maybe get a little green, a little dark red, and go in. Now on the color wheel, red and green are opposites.
Huh. Who knew?
Well, the color wheel, and what you can do is by mixing the two together in equal portions and finding the right colors, you can create a very shiny dark, sometimes black. I'm trying to lean it a little more towards green, but you can create some very shiny darks. So, like I said, I can certainly keep playing with this, and I might. But this will get you by, I think, for today. And just go in and maybe apply some of these deeper reds and greens into some of the little background areas to create some very rich dark darks. And by doing that, it basically will help you make everything pop up even more. Because we want a nice rich background, but not just black. That's why I say mix up the colors a little bit, have a little fun with it, experiment. So as you can see, every time I do this, I get a little more color, a little more vibrancy out of it. You can also use some of the red for shadow for doing some of the leaves also. Or you might want to get under and create a little bit of shadow. Yeah. So and just blend that right into shadow. There we go. Alright, so as you can see, we could just keep doing this. Mark's going, no! No, we can't. But I'll leave it up to you guys. But I would continue to keep adding a little more darks here and there, adding a few more shadows, and just kind of finishing it up without going absolutely crazy. Little details, little shadowy. Thinking close enough.
Well, then you should tell the people thanks for watching.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Mr. Hicks, do you have any suggestions?
I suggest they go to rkmcguire.com. Check out all the goodies over there. Follow you on Facebook and Instagram, and obviously subscribe to the YouTube channel if they haven't already. And leave comments of what they want to see next, and
that would be cool. Yeah, I'm always interested in what people are looking for.
And I don't know if they know, but we opened a Facebook group, Students of R.K. McGuire, where you can share your paintings and possibly get a little creative criticism from the man himself.
I love doing criticism.
He's mean. He's mean as a junkyard dog.
No, I'm not as bad as I used to be. No, I'm not as bad. But actually, the fun part of it is you can get feedback from fellow watercolorists, and I think it's a pretty good deal. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Yay!
Bye. Bye. Bye.